All right, all right. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to kind of sit down and do a recap of some of the activities that have been going on here over the past couple of weeks. Give us insights of what we're looking at, what our thoughts are. So you go back to the jobs reports just a couple of weeks back, and it was a surprise to everybody. 93,000 jobs created, which was a positive move. And again, they were not expecting that kind of from the previous loss of jobs and contraction. And so, that shows a bit of resilience in the economy and that things are moving forward and that there's some positive aspects in the hiring front. And then, of course, this past week you had the inflation report come out that was higher than expected at 3.3%. Really, though, a lot of that driven, gas prices were up about 19%. And so it's as to be expected with respect to what was taking place with the war in Iran. And again, you see the challenges going on. Ultimately, Trump hoping for a quick resolution, and it really has not been transacted so quickly. And then now they're running a blockade on Hormuz to block the Iranians because the negotiations fell apart. So, these are things that are not, extremely favorable. Now, again, on our side, we are less energy dependent on that as the rest of the world, but nonetheless, we start to see the supply chain shock of energy prices hitting, and that's what's happening, where cost of gases goes up, energy goes up, and that's happening. Now, that being said, when they're looking at the overall inflation rate, it does look like, it's being driven by that in a big way. And so that's also a bit of a positive news because, again, it's like some of the other underlying supply chain issues are being resolved and, there's more of a normalization happening. So, again, it's kind of a mixed bag. And then realistically, right now, as a result of the war in Iran, the Treasury 10 years up about 30 basis points. Interest rates are, up. The mortgage rate on the 30-year home mortgage has been elevated. It's come down just a nudge right now. But, these are things that, if you want to be honest about it, it is a really mixed bag type scenario. One of the things that's interesting to me is I see a lot of different stuff on Facebook as well, where it's like, somebody's like, oh my God, you learned to come and invest in apartments. I own $60 million worth of apartments, or I've done 7 apartment deals and, I'll show you how to make money in apartments. And so they're selling a course and they're explaining how everything is just, fantastic and rosy. Or another, guy's like, oh, hey, look, you should be in oil and gas. Or another guy's like, you should look at, real estate development, developing luxury homes. I make millions doing luxury homes and you should be in this. Or, hey, now is the time to be in ADUs and I make millionaire students out of ADUs. And, a lot of those people are selling education type programs. But in that, they're also selling the dream. They're also selling what's maybe not exactly realistic. And again, in a realistic way, yes, there's opportunity, no doubt, in the marketplace, but it's also one that's if you're being cogent about it, you've got to look at it and see for the truth that there is a mixed bag what's going on in the economy right now. So there is some underlying growth. You've got the issues that are happening there with the war in Iran. It will get resolved. It's not going to be a long-term thing, but that has been a short-term negative with respect to interest rates. And again, the variables that we see with interest rates, as we've said, are going to continue to stay higher for longer. And that's opposite of what a lot of people said early on, like, oh, the rates are going to come down. It's like been, 4 years and rates have not really come down in a dramatic fashion with respect to the treasuries and all like that. So, I think, yes, there's definitely opportunities. We see it on our single family residential team. They're really crushing it with respect to that because there's a need for people to want to sell their properties. And then, with what's going on, there's an opportunity for those to be bought at a discount. And then there's still, a need and a demand for affordable housing. And so they're doing well with that. And then even in the commercial side, specifically multifamily, there is pressures right now on rents because of the new construction that's been delivered in the marketplace. And that's put some pressure on it. Interest rates elevated, put some pressure on it. And we're seeing those distress opportunities coming into the market. And so that presents a good opportunity, but it also means you have to be thoughtful and intentional to really find the diamond in the rough, the thing that is really the gold, to be able to execute on it. And I know that we're going to be able to do that as we have in the past. And so I just encourage you right now, it's a time, it definitely opportunity is presenting itself. We're seeing that in a real way, but it's also a time that you have to be sober about how you're looking at things so that you can, minimize risks and maximize the opportunity. So have a blessed and victorious week, for this is the week God has ordained for you.